a bit of a stand-in for Vivian, but I want to say something about how this meeting came together, because it's quite an extraordinary process, and it's one that's happening in suburbs all around Sydney. Residents are simply getting organised as the Westconnex project monster rolls into their neighbourhood and comes up with plans that are sprung upon the community with absolutely no public consultation. And we basically pulled this meeting together with a group of residents who were letterboxed by Vivian, a neighbour of mine, and said, look, have you heard? They've rerouted the M4-M5 link, and it's going right underneath our houses. And they say that this rerouting is in response to public consultation. What public consultation? We wondered. None of us have heard of anything. So we got together and we leafleted the area. We had, and then the test drills started springing up in the neighbourhood. And we could see the line that they were investigating, and truly it was going right through underneath our homes. So we started to gather early in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning outside to show that this was happening without our consent. So that's the first thing that we noticed in organising this meeting. There is a lot of frustration and anger out there because there is absolutely no public consultation in this process. And one of the first points I want to make on behalf of the organising group is that even if Westconnex had sent the representatives they promised to send, we don't count this as public consultation. This was an opportunity that we created for them to answer the questions of the residents. And as Marilyn said, we went through some lengths to make sure this wasn't just a slang match or a chance for people to shout at them. But they still did not turn up. But had they turned up, I don't think this counts as public consultation. Public consultation has to be a proper process, properly financed, properly advertised, and open to the public. And with some guarantee that the public input will mean something. So that's one of the first questions that our little ad hoc group wants to put to Westconnex. What is the plan for public consultation around this new route that they are investigating? Give us dates, give us places, and give us details about how our voices will be heard and seriously taken into account. The second thing is we want to have some certainty about a number of vague questions, such as, are there going to be ventilation stacks midway? Now, if you read the material that they have put out since then, they say no. Just at the front and at the end of the tunnel. I guess that makes it either Haberfield, Roselle, St. Peter's, and nothing in between. It's a long tunnel with no ventilation stacks. But if you read carefully what they say, they leave themselves an out. They say there probably will not be ventilation stacks. So we want to know, will there be ventilation stacks or not? And if there are going to be ventilation stacks, will there be a proper environmental impact study into this? We want to know all the consequences, both of midway ventilation stacks as well as ventilation stacks on either end. What monitoring will take place? What will the health impacts be? We want to know what is the impact of drilling on houses and other buildings in this area, which is a heritage zone, a heritage area. Most people who are living in this area, who are trying to look after houses that are nearly 100 years old or older, know what a struggle it is to stop the cracks from, the ground is moving as it is. What is tunneling going to do to this? Is it going to be worse or not? And we're not just worried about the immediate impacts during the time of tunnelling. What about later? What about a few years later if the ground subsides because they've diverted a watercourse? What about that possibility? Are we covered for that? Have they taken that into account? Is there any way you can plan for that sort of thing? Now, it's not like we're inventing problems. Other recent tunnelling has resulted in subsidence. If you do a Google search, you will find there are people looking for compensation in Brisbane from tunnelling there. They haven't been satisfied. The company that was responsible went broke in that particular case. So finally, we want to ask for an assurance. We want to ask for an assurance that there will be a proper investigation of all the traffic consequences. All the traffic consequences, because we know from reading the newspapers that there's going to be a hell lot of extra traffic dumped onto Broadway should there have been Camperdown exits. Now we are told there are no Camperdown exits. Where does that traffic go? What is the impact for Newtown? These are just some of the questions I want to put on the table, and the rest the community can add to. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. And I want to remind everyone, before you leave tonight, make sure you have your question for Westconnex in our box, and we'll make sure that they get an avalanche of questions tomorrow morning.